Welcome everyone to today's webinar. I'm Ryan Renison. I'll be hosting the webinar. Today's topic, why South African talent is key to filling UK job vacancies. Attendees, please also be encouraged to check out that website, workpermit.moveup.co.za. It's dedicated just for UK employers. So our primary objective for today is to introduce ourselves and to create awareness of who we are and what we do at MoveUp. What attendees can expect to learn today, not only do we exist, but that we are able to supply a new set of solutions so that UK employers can access overseas talent easily. So if you're part of a UK-based company and you have positions or a position that you're struggling to fill, we can help bridge that gap and solve that vacancy need. Naturally, what we find is that UK employers tend to have hesitations and concerns about this commitment. And today we'll hopefully be introducing some solutions to address those concerns, that we can mitigate risk and hopefully just eliminate any concern that an employer might have. Today's session, the overview is this. It's going to be broken down into these 8 sections. And I'll be introducing ourselves shortly after this. But then we will address the UK skill gap, why SA Talent can solve those gaps, how MoveUp solves the skill gap, and then we'll be introducing our legal head, Gwen Vermeulen, who will be demystifying the sponsorship process. And then I'll be introducing Angelique, who will give us some results on how we actually solve this. And then I'll be closing on how to get started with our process. And that's when we'll open up the Q&As. Now, for those that don't know, I'm Ryan Renison, the founder of MoveUp. Founded in 2010. And then this is my team, Angelique Carew, who handles our talent acquisition. She's our placement specialist. And then also joining us today will be Gwen Vermeulen, who is our legal compliance head, who handles the UK immigration and nationality claims, to name a few, but she also helps with the sponsorship process, which is what I'm excited to introduce. So I founded MoveUp in 2010, so we've been around for over a decade now, and I'm passionate about providing working solutions to those who want it. More importantly, I thrive on adding value in users' relocation journey. Personally, I went to UK as part of a gap year, where I gained some international work experience, and I just loved how much the UK opened my eyes to how the global economy works. And that's really what being in the industry is about for me, is making sure that other South Africans get that same opportunity and exposure. That's what I'm passionate about, is encouraging other South Africans to get internationally exposed. So yes, as I mentioned today, I'm going to be joined by Gwen and Angelique, and you'll get a chance to hear from them shortly. Now, this slide does a lot of the talking, the UK skills gap. But really what we've identified is healthcare, engineering, education, and logistics. Those are like 4 of the biggest sectors that have the biggest skills gap at the moment. And the skills gap to me means lower productivity and operations taking a strain because of the lack of support. And what UK companies are finding with skilled professionals is that the local supply is limited. Extended vacancies inside a firm will also translate to financial loss, lower work morale, and missed growth opportunities. So that is why international recruitment is no longer optional, it's strategic. And this is the problem that this webinar is hopefully looking to solve. And the basis of how we approach the market, that we are here to solve that skills gap. Before we go on to why SA Talent, I just want to share what we're finding when we onboard new UK employers. We often get asked, why would South Africans want to leave South Africa? It's a beautiful country and the weather's so great. Why would you want to go to the rainy UK and leave? And when I started in the industry, the immigration industry, what we found, well, what I originally thought was the earning potential of earning pounds over rands was the key driving factor. And gaining international work experience is also a great strategic career move. But over time, I've learned that it's actually the UK stability that it offers that's a big draw card. Stability in lower crime rates, working public infrastructure, and better long-term prospects for families abroad. So that's what opened South Africans to the idea of relocating and pursuing opportunities abroad. Now, getting back to why employers should consider SA Talent. We're English speaking. We've got a high work ethic. South Africans average 43 hours a week. That's on our national average working hours. If you compare that to the UK, that has 35 working hours on average. And how that translates is South Africans land up working longer hours, which looks like we work harder. But we're just used to working longer. But the UK tends to appreciate that. What employers also find is that we're culturally adaptable. We can integrate really well. What I also like to think is everyone in the UK tends to live within a box. Just entertain me here. And when you bring in foreign talent, their thought process is outside that box. And so what they tend to do is challenge the status quo and ask, why are things done like this? And that out-the-box thinking often tends to bring new solutions or unthought of solutions. Also, South Africa's education, the skilled professionals now have come from a very high quality of education. And as previously mentioned, South Africans are more than willing to relocate. So you don't need to sell them on the idea. When they're applying for a UK opportunity, it's because they've already made their mind up. They are looking to relocate. So we don't have to sell them on the UK. And now, next up, I want to introduce, let's de-spotlight. All right. And then next up on our next slide is my colleague, Angelique. She'll be discussing this. Angelique, do you want to be spotlighted, or would you prefer to have the slide up while you talk? You've got the option.
Yeah, the slide can be up, it's fine, because this is basically what my notes were from this. So.
Yeah, so I thought it's just nice to have the visual representation.
Yeah. No, that's all
cool.
good.
Happy. Okay, well, Angelique, this is all yours. Please tell our viewers about how MoveUp handles the relocation process.
Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Angelique, the talent acquisition specialist at MoveUp. So just touching on what you mentioned earlier, Ryan, with the SA Talent for the employer's point of view. We find that South Africans are extremely hardworking. They're used to longer hours. They generally they're loyal and they're dedicated to their job. And yeah, from the client's perspective, South Africans definitely would be a good choice. Then from the candidate's perspective, for them to go over to the UK, I have also lived in the UK myself, so I can say that they look at the safety, they see a better future for themselves, for their children, and they have more job security. So it's a big plus for them. So we call ourselves talent acquisition specialists rather than recruiters, because talent acquisition is long-term placements. So it gives candidates a chance to really build their career up in the UK. And just to start off with how our process works, so we charge a 10% initiation fee, well, service initiation fee rather, and our full fee altogether is 10% off of the candidate's annual wage. So the initiation fee is 10% of that. So what happens is once a new client approaches us and they would like to go ahead, we'll charge the service initiation fee, and then we will place online adverts, which is usually done through Indeed or LinkedIn. And then we can screen and shortlist CVs that come through. So once we've done that, then we go on to the pre-interviews, which we like to refer to as a quick meet and greet, which is about 10-15 minutes or so. We do everything via WhatsApp video. Most people have WhatsApp, so we find that it's the easiest route to take. So with the pre-interviews, it gives us a chance to get to know just a little bit about the candidate's background, also their personality. It's very different when you're looking at a CV as opposed to actually talking to them on video. So it's a good opportunity for us to do that. We hold a really high quality standard. So, we go with the top candidates and the most qualified for the roles that we have available. And so once we have finished with our pre-interviews, we have our legal department, which goes through our compliance checks on the passports and visas, just to make sure everybody is legally allowed to work in South Africa, or they have to have at least a visa and a passport from the country that they are born in. Then from there onwards, we shortlist to the formal interviews. So with the formal interview, that gives the candidates a really good chance to tell us their motivation for the role that they've applied for and for their relocation, because this is highly important, especially to our clients. They need to know that whichever candidates are going to go over, that they understand that this is a big move, because you are starting over, but like most of our candidates, they are happy to go. They really, really want to do the move. So that's always a good thing. Okay, and our interviews are recorded. So we send these over as a presentation to the client so that they can also for themselves, see sort of the candidate's personality, get to know more about everything that they have told us on the interview about themselves, how they work, maybe their struggles, where they thrive. So it's good for them to be able to see everything as we have as well. And then after we go through the presentations, once we've sent the presentations, we also do our reference checks with the previous employers. So that's also just to check, what their position is, their work ethic, and just general trustworthiness and how they worked at that company. And then from there onwards, we go to the final interview. So we host the final interview between the client and the candidate. And this gives, really good chance for the clients to get to know the candidates properly. If they have any sort of little tasks, like online tests that they might like to do with them, then they're able to do that as well. So once they've done that, then the client would just let us know who they've decided to go with, and they would offer a contract. So from the time, just to say before that, from the time we post the ad to the time that we send over the presentations, it takes about 3 weeks or so to get to the client. So we would say definitely not more than that. So once the client has decided to send a contract to the candidates, we will notify the candidate, congratulate them, and then from that point is where we introduce the candidates to the skilled worker visa department to guide through the following steps. So that's pretty much everything in a nutshell.
Brilliant. Yeah, Angelique, I agree. So what we find, like you're saying, is We generally have a 3-week lead time to formally provide those introductions of the shortlisted strongest candidates, and we supply the employer with the recorded interviews. The beauty of the recorded interviews is that employers can, at their own time, view the recordings and then assess which of those would suit or interest them. And then they come back to us, like you say, for further interviews before they need to make a final decision. And in those further interviews, that's where, employers can test. Yeah, I agree. So we're finding that this online recording introduction, it's just convenient rather than needing to formally allocate and coordinate UK times with SA times and the applicant's availability. The online recording has just been way more convenient because of that. It just helps set the pace and reduce friction. So yeah, we're proud of that. And like you say, our standard fees are 10%. So that's really great. Now, folks, it is time to introduce you to my colleague, Gwen Vermeulen. Gwen is a litigation attorney who has been with us for some time now. But Gwen, I'm going to hand over the rails to you. Help our employers, please, demystify the visa sponsorship process, please.
Ryan, sorry, you're going to pause the recording here, right? Okay. Do I need to talk about all of this because I have something else? Can I just start?
Yeah, what I'm even willing to do, Gwen, is just highlight you, and then you can just talk, and no one will see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can highlight me.
Fine. You are officially being spotlighted.
Okay. So hi, everyone, and welcome to today's session, Sponsorship Demystified. My name is Gwen Vermeulen, and I'm here to talk you through on how to secure a UK skilled worker visa, but in plain language. So whether you are an individual hoping to obtain work in the UK or a company wanting to hire international talent, the process starts with one important word, and that is sponsorship. Now, I'm going to break the whole process down for you in 3 easy steps. So step 1 is the sponsorship license. Before anything else can happen, the UK employer needs to be registered as a licensed sponsor with the Home Office. This is a legal requirement for any company that wants to hire someone from outside the United Kingdom. They are payable, but I'm not going to bore you with how much pounds it is. You can hit us up after the session, and we will just merely email you all the fees and the processes. So if the company requires help with the sponsorship license, that's where we come in at MoveUp, and we assist you in preparing the application, gathering all the documents, and making sure everything aligns with the Home Office expectations. If your company has not been in the business for very long and you are merely starting a business in the United Kingdom, then you can still sponsor someone internationally to come and work with you, even though you won't have the necessary bank account statements or anything. Now, once your sponsorship license is granted, then the company can issue something called a certificate of sponsorship, or as what we refer to them, a COS. So this isn't a physical document, it's a unique electronic reference number linked directly to the job offer from the sponsor or the employee. We also do assist with obtaining the certificate of sponsorship for all the clients, because some clients find the SMS system a tad bit, what do you call that word, Ryan?
Which one?
Tedious?
If it's deurmekaar.
Unorganized or
Unorganized.
chaotic.
Finds it a bit unorganized and chaotic. Now, once and only once the certificate of sponsorship has been applied for, then we begin with the actual skilled worker visa itself. In terms of how long the employee can come over to the United Kingdom and how much fees it's going to be, is we can make it very easy. So if you want someone for the long run and there's not much fees to be spent, Ryan, I think we need to take that out. I don't feel very comfortable with that.
Fine.
Basically, what I want to say is we can assist with getting a skilled worker visa for a company that is tailored to their needs, fee-wise.
Yeah.
So if they only want a skilled worker for 1 year, then that is possible. If they want a skilled worker for 3 years, then that is also possible. So it doesn't matter what type of sorry, Ryan.
Why?
It doesn't it doesn't matter whether you want a skilled worker for a year or 3 years or 5 years, we would still be able to assist with that visa application.
Agreed.
Kindly remember that also on top of the visa fees that needs to be paid, there's also the immigration health surcharge, and also tailored for your needs. It's cheaper if you do a 1 year or 2 year or 3 year skilled worker visa application. Now, everyone is quite in a ruckus about the new white paper that has been published by the Home Office, and currently we are not concerned at all. It is what it is, and that is it's a white paper. Now, there's processes that this white paper needs to go through before it actually becomes an act. So it's a white paper currently, then it becomes a bill, then it will be sent for commentary and objections to this bill, etc., etc. Then only it goes to obtain its royal assent in Parliament. Once only the bill obtains its royal assent, then it is an act. The last act that we have seen that went through this process took almost 2 years. So currently, we are not very worried about the white paper. We are also not worried about those currently in the United Kingdom under the skilled worker visa. It seems, or the talks are, that only those that is going to apply after the act comes into play will be affected by the law changes. So basically, we at MoveUp, we do everything for companies and also the employees. We do the sponsorship license, certificate of sponsorship, and we also do the actual visa process from beginning to end to getting your employee to the United Kingdom. So if you are feeling overwhelmed by the whole sponsorship process, we are there to help. And
Brilliant.
I'm done. Is it
Brilliant.
okay?
100%. Thank you. Thanks, Gwen. That was very helpful.
Thank you.
So, how does MoveUp solve this? I just want to give a little background. After the pandemic, from our perspective, what we witnessed is the UK government loosened its visa policies, motivated also by the effects of Brexit and not having access to non-skilled labor. And so what landed up happening organically is UK employers started approaching us to help them with the placements. And through that is where we birthed our recruitment department. And with that, our process is this. We source, screen, shortlist, and conduct background checks to verify that applicants are who they say they are. And then we host recorded interviews and provide introductions to the strongest match candidates. And Angelique's going to elaborate a little bit more about that just now. But for now, that's the overall concept of how we facilitate the recruitment side. And then obviously employers would then express interest in who would they like to open further discussions with. Now, before we move on to the next slide, and before I start introducing Gwen with her legal support, I just want to share some observations I had, and then I have in this role, and then also I want to talk about some future prospects we have. So in terms of our middleman role, what's unfolded as being in the recruitment side, which I've thoroughly enjoyed, is MoveUp has naturally become a middleman between employers and applicants. And this middleman allows for a buffer in expectation management that would not naturally or ordinarily occur if there was a direct employer and employee or applicant relationship. So employers can ask us to manage the applicant's expectations on their roles and responsibilities without offending the applicant. And the applicant can ask us about their expectations, and we can buffer between the two without causing offense. So we found that adds a great element in the placement journey that isn't necessarily captured in our placement service fees. We don't charge for that, but we've just found it a great value add in the process. So that's been great to see. Now, the other thing I want to talk about quickly is some future solutions we're going to be unfolding in the coming months. First thing we're looking to roll out is an outsourced business offering. And there's two types of outsourcing we're considering. The first one is a probation period where the applicant would first initially on board with MoveUp as an employee of MoveUp to conduct work on behalf of an SA employer in the UK. And in essence, MoveUp would be outsourcing the prospect applicant or the employee in the UK as a probation experiment. And what this enables is the UK employer then gets to test the integration without having big financial overhead commitment costs, and they can assess the feasibility or the adjustment and the integration of the applicant without having to formally commit to long-term employment contracts and big sponsorship fees. So from that perspective, our outsource model is quite exciting. It does also give us a market differentiator that no one else is doing. So we're excited about that. But then also part of an outsource model is shift rotation work, which we are also in the process of entertaining for one of our clients, an electrical engineer firm. So the idea is South Africans are permitted 180-day maximum visitation rights as business visitors to the United Kingdom. And so what we're saying is let's split that 180 days up into 30-day rotation. So 30 days on, 30 days off, 30 days on, 30 days off. Is that right? Anyway, how it works though is that 3 months on, 3 months off. That's how it is. 3 months on, 3 months off on rotation through the year. And between those off periods, we'll have a separate team come in who will also follow that same rotation. So there'll be 2 sets of rotating team members. So we're excited about that because then we can compete on price on the labor force. And the challenge with the second solution, what we're finding though, is the accommodation aspect. So there are little hurdles. It's not like a foolproof plan, but we're in the process of testing and refining these approaches, which is exciting and also hopefully demonstrates our innovation to the placement market. So now my colleague Sarah is going to be sharing with me, she's in the background, Sarah. She's going to be sharing with me all the questions from questions and answers. But before we do that, I just seen I nearly missed a slide, which is how to get started. really what we want to encourage everyone to do is set up a consult with Angelique. That's the best way to get forward. Let's hear about your vacancy needs. Let's hear about what you're looking for, and what the going rate would be. And then from there, Angelique can onboard you as a client by completing our talent acquisition agreement. And that's where we'll also request that service initiation fee as part of that agreement. And that's really how we get the ball started. So it's really, really easy. And we can activate your employer profile once we get that talent acquisition agreement secured. But we've got a very good system, folks, is what we're trying to say. And yes, 10% placement fee, we like to think is the right fee. We're coming in cost effective for UK employers, so there's a win in that side too. Q&As, what are they? All right, so because this is a pre-recording, we don't have Q&As in this session. But if you've got any further questions after watching this, or if you are interested in finding out more, please, folks, be encouraged to send us an email, get in contact. We would love to chat. Thanks, everyone, for your time. And I'm going to be closing now with a slide of Angelique, and I need to change this. I will change it post-production. I'm going to be closing now with a photo of Angelique. These are her contact details. Be encouraged. You can call her, email. We look forward to chatting with you. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Team, thank you for joining us today in this pre-recorded version. And then I look forward to doing the live version with you next week.
Finding the right talent can be tough in today's competitive market. At MoveUp, we connect UK employers with South Africa's skilled workforce, offering expert recruitment and visa sponsorship services. Our placement services ensure thorough screening, recorded interviews, and even representation for the main applicant's skilled worker visa. We provide recorded interviews, giving you a full view of the candidate before making any decisions. Our visa experts simplify the sponsorship process, ensuring your new hires meet all legal requirements. Access South Africa's top talent with MoveUp. Visit talent.moveup.co.za to schedule a consultation with our acquisition specialists today.